morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm Jessica Williams. Thank you for joining me today. On today's show, we are finishing our Growing for the Future series. I join Brian out on his farm in Warren, Indiana to see the final steps in his farming journey. And I also get to drive some big machinery. Then the Hearing the Call organization joins me in studio to share about their business and how they help people who has lost their hearing. That and more happening now.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
This segment sponsored by the Indiana soybean and corn farmers. We are continuing our Growing for the Future series here at the War Pup Farm located in Warren, Indiana. Boy, what a journey this has been. We have seen it from the seed being planted to the growth and now the big harvest. And joining me right now is Brian Warpup, who is a director at the Indiana Soybean Alliance. Hi, Brian.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Man, this place looks different.
It does. It does.
So much has changed. It's been so amazing seeing your process month by month and really seeing how the crop has grown and sprouted. And now it's changed colors a bit.
It's changed colors. We're almost to the end. It's been 5 months since we planted it. And of course, we went through the entire summer and the whole process of its growth. And here we are at the end, at fall and harvest. And we're ready to start harvesting.
You made it. We made it to harvest. Okay, so of course the colors start to change.
Yeah.
We are getting into fall.
Yeah.
You know, fall just kicked off, and so that really does make a difference in the coloring of the leaves.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Why do the leaves change colors?
Yeah, and it's just like the fall leaves that are in your neighborhoods or in a park. It's that time of the year. It's fall. It starts decomposing and kind of shutting down for the winter, for the cold part. And the corn is an annual crop, and it starts maturing or dying or get that dying look to it. And when it does that, that means it's at full maturity and that we can harvest that crop.
Okay, so the color is an indication that it's ready.
Yep.
It is ready to actually harvest. So what is that process like when you harvest?
Yeah, so we wait for it to get to that full maturity, and then when we feel that it's time, we take it what's called a combine, and we harvest it with the combine. And that's kind of what we do the whole month of starting in September, all of October, and probably into a little bit of November.
Really?
Yeah.
So why does it take that long?
Because there's so many acres, everything may be ready at the same time, but we can't physically or mechanically get it all done in a week. So it takes several weeks to gather that all in.
Okay, so depending on the size of your land, you're just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of tackling
Yes,
one area
that's
at
correct.
a time.
Yes.
Okay, great. And so let's look a little bit closer at the actual
Sure.
crop because I see that the colors change. You say that once it's on this stalk, it's ready to go. So does it fall off or does the machine grab it?
So the machine actually picks it.
Okay.
So it picks it, and when it picks it, it shells it. Yeah, it doesn't harvest it at the machine. There's a whole process that we'll see here in a minute for all that to happen.
Okay, wonderful. And then talk to me about what happens after the machine actually scrapes it, gets it,
Sure.
puts it in its holding spot, I don't know, and then what happens?
Yeah, so we
Brian?
harvest it, we shell it, and the combine separates it from the stalks or the cobs,
Okay.
from the kernels, and it puts it in its own separate bin.
Okay.
And so when that bin on that combine gets full, then we haul it away in a wagon, a cart, or eventually a semi to its final destination.
Wow, and in your experience, Brian, of farming for so long and being able to manage this fourth generation farm, what is your favorite step in this process? Like
Well,
which one?
Today,
Really?
This time of
Okay.
the year is my favorite. Yeah, because we've worked for 5 months to try to raise this crop, and Mother Nature. We're very dependent on Mother Nature, and she's treated us very well this year.
Yeah.
So at the end, it's basically what you've done all year long. If you see the result instantly right there. So yeah, this is the best time of the year for me.
Yes, the fruits of your
Yes,
labor.
but also the
or
busiest.
the corn of your labor.
But also the busiest time of the year.
Yes, so much so. Okay, so let's take a look back at that combine and see how it works.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. So Brian, I see here that there's pieces of cob just kind of sporadically placed. This is the leftover?
Yeah, so when the combine goes through the field and it processes the ear of corn, it takes in the leaves, the stalk, the cob. And we don't want that in our clean grain hopper. So it processes it and spits it out the back and distributes it through the field again.
Really? So what happens? Does it just kind of like soak into the soil?
Well, it's organic, so you know, it came from the soil, so it decomposes. You know, like a compost pile. It kind of composts itself into the soil, and it becomes the soil again.
Becomes the soil again. That's awesome. So Brian, the combine actually takes the corn and does what to it? Can you kind of give me a demonstration?
So I can do it by hand. The combine will do this very quickly.
Okay.
It picks the ear and we'll shuck it very fast, and that's what the corn looks like.
Okay.
And after it picks it, it goes through the combine and actually processes the corn.
Yeah.
So there's a cob and it will shell it.
Oh.
But it's doing it very quickly. So it'll take it. But you have cob, you have leaves, you have stalk that kind of gets mixed in with that.
Yes.
So at that threshing, which is what we just did, it separates the vegetation from the actual crop, and then it spits it out of the back of the combine.
You know, it's pretty incredible because I'm assuming back in the day, all of this had to be done
by
manually.
hand. It was done by hand. Yeah.
And that is not, he made it look easy, but it actually hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. So incredible. Technology has come a long way.
Yep, it has.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful.
Well, Brian, we have seen so many different types of trucks and tractors and whatnot, but the combine, that is new for us. So can you explain what this machine is?
It's a different piece of equipment. It's not a tractor, it's not a sprayer. The only thing that this combine does is harvest our crop. And so at the front of this, we see this snouty looking thing, and that is a corn head. Yeah, it has snouts on it, and it's a corn head, so it harvests only corn. We can detach that and put a different front on for a different crop. So because it's a little different process. But the combine itself, it runs through all of our acres, harvesting everything that we have.
And then I see a truck that's behind it. So what does this truck do?
Yeah, so this is actually the tractor that we planted with, and we put a grain cart behind it. And it's a holding spot for our corn, our already harvested corn. So that gives me time to continue harvesting and not stopping all the time. So we're a little more efficient when we have that. And it takes it to the semi and dumps into the semi.
Okay, into that semi, the white truck?
Yep, the white truck, yep.
Okay, so question.
Sure.
Because I'm trying to just follow the process a bit.
Sure.
So this goes through the field.
Yep, this goes through the field.
It
so
snatches.
There'll be a row of corn that goes in between.
Okay,
here.
in between.
And this right here will roll and snap the stalk and take it down.
Okay.
And so it will, here's an ear of corn. It'll pick the corn, and this corn will go up, hit that auger, it'll go in the auger, and then actually go through the middle of the machine.
Okay, go through the middle of the machine, and then does it do anything in the
Oh,
machine?
it does a lot in there.
Is this where the chucking happens?
Yeah, it does, but yeah, you can't visually see it from where we're at. But yeah, there's a spot in there that thrashes it. So it just
thrashes it.
Basically, you know, blows it up so it comes into little pieces. And then as it keeps on going, it separates it into the kernels, and it goes up to the bin.
Okay.
And everything else, we call it the chaff or the leaves, goes out the back and spreads out over the field. And that's what it looks like after we're done.
Okay, and so it just kind of holds there at this moment. The corn holds until you are ready
to dump it.
And then that's where this comes in.
That's
You're following along.
Beside me. He'll be beside me. Yep.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So as you are going, when this fills up, you have to unload it there to continue the process, because that has more holding room.
That is correct, yes.
All right, yes.
And this is called a combine because we combined all three things, the shelling, the separation, and the thrashing all together. We used to have to, 100 years ago, we had to do that separately, and it would take many people, manpower, horses, mules, whatever, to do all that.
Right.
Whereas just does it one time.
And how long has technology like this really been around?
Technology like this has been around since the 1960s, so probably 50, 60, 70 years.
Okay.
But not quite like this.
Yeah.
But this is as modern as it gets.
And then just thinking towards the future as we're growing for the future, what do you think about the evolution of technology? What do you expect to happen in the future?
Well, what I expect is kind of what has happened in the last 50, 60 years. We use less and less people or manpower to do our things. So I think there's going to continue to be more automation, less manless vehicles.
Okay.
So more autonomous.
Yeah.
That I don't have to have somebody there. So I think that's just how history is done.
Right.
We've done more with less people.
Yes.
And I think that's where we're going.
All right, awesome. Well, we're gonna hop in this combine and give it a ride.
All right.
All right.
Let's have fun.
I'm excited. Woohoo. Let's do it. All right, Brian, that was a days of work.
Yeah.
That was very exciting, being able to drive this combine. It's kind of fun. We were talking about it, like it's relaxing.
I do a lot of thinking in there. There's
Yeah.
plenty of time to think, but there's a lot going on at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, it's doing that for 8 or 10 hours a day. It's my happy place.
Yes, put on some music and just really enjoy it. It just really shows a different side of this whole farming career. And we appreciate you giving us a deeper look and kind of breaking down,
Happy to.
yes, each of the steps and processes. Okay, so now that we've done that, we've put it on the
grain cart.
The grain cart, and now that's going to go into that grain bin that we were at last time.
That is correct, yes. Yep.
All right, and then that is it.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure being out here with you, and the weather did us nicely
Yes.
today. And so if you want to continue to follow our Growing for the Future series, catch up on previous segments, you can go to WANE.com. We'll have their website listed below to learn more about the Indiana Soybean Alliance, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by the Indiana Soybean and Corn Farmers.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
This segment sponsored by Hearing the Call. Hearing the Call is an organization that brings hope and healing to persons who have hard of hearing. And here to share more is Nora Stewart, the founder and chairwoman, and Kevin Zener, the marketing director. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, great to have you. So let's kick it off by hearing about literally this organization. Tell me about Hearing the Call.
Oh, well, I'd love to tell you about Hearing the Call. It was founded in 2016 out of really seeing the need for people to have hearing treatment that couldn't afford it here in Fort Wayne, around the country, and around the world.
Yes, because this is a local business that has really grown over the 7-year span and has reached so many. And so I know that you founded this. What was your original vision behind it? And did it take off in a different direction than you thought?
Oh, yeah. So the vision started way before 7 years ago. In fact, it started in 2008. My husband, who is also an audiologist and has a private practice here, the two of us went down to Mexico together on a humanitarian trip, and we started fitting people who could never afford hearing aids. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember the time, looking at my watch, knowing this was my purpose on earth. It was to help people who just don't have access or can't afford hearing health care to obtain it. So many years went by. My husband and I were working in our private practice, and then just doors kept opening up, and it's almost like we were being pushed through doors to start this. So finally, we actually, before hearing the call, started a local nonprofit, which helps the people here in Fort Wayne and Northeast Indiana receive hearing help who can't afford it. And from that, the bigger picture was, okay, if we can do it here, we can help other people around the country.
Right. What a great journey.
Yeah.
And of course, hearing is so important. It's one of our top senses. And so, Kevin, can you share some of the programs that you all offer through Hearing the Call?
Oh man, that might be a better question for Nora. But that being said, as she mentioned, with the best of intention back in 2016, this thing has grown to a size that I don't even know that Nora thought would be comparable. So just in September, for instance, we had 4 domestic Hearing the Call projects happen in Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, and Chicago. We also had 2 international events happen in South Africa and in Mexico. And so what happens is, and again, I am not a provider, I am not an audiologist, I am somebody who makes them all look really good and shows the masses all the work that they do. But you know, people come in and they don't even know that this type of service is available to them. And so when Hearing the Call hits the ground, they make sure that everything is as thorough. They do best practices, whether it's stateside or international. And most people receive the gift of hearing in the form of hearing aids. Other people get cerumen removal, so earwax. And then others are told, hey, you're actually fine and you can go live this full life. So it's not just addressing the need for people who have hearing loss, it's also letting other people know that in fact, just because it's ubiquitous in your family does not mean that you yourself are suffering from it.
Right.
So there are a lot of steps, both locally and internationally, that Hearing the Call takes to either make sure people can hear again or affirm to them that everything is okay in their world.
Right. And all of this takes place at the events that you shared about?
So yes, at a Hearing the Call event, again, whether it's stateside or international, we take patients and we put them into clinics. Sometimes it's providers' own clinics. Sometimes it's makeshift clinics. Again, Nora can speak far better about some of the places that they have been international. But the ability to convert either an actual practice or just a vacant building into a full-on clinic is something that is a superpower for Hearing the Call. And they're able to see hundreds of people because of it.
Wow, that's incredible. And Nora, through your experience, who have you found to be most affected by the loss of hearing? Of course, we think an older age would be affected more, but really it's something that can impact lives through every age, right?
From birth to the grave, we say, and we see people of all ages. In fact, some of, like you say, what are the stories that affect me the most? It's usually, you know, all of them. But when we can take a child and we hear that they've been pulled out of school because they can't hear, and this is not so much in the United States, but around the world, and we fit them with hearing aids, and when we go back and we hear the stories of now that child is back in school and thriving and has hope for a brighter future, those are the ones that are addictive, and it just makes us keep going back,
and wanna
doing
do your
more.
job more, right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And so we talked about the events, but there's actually an event coming up here in Fort Wayne, a cornhole event. So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so this is Nora Stewart's wonderful idea. We listen to Nora's ideas and then we are galvanized and we just run through brick walls to make sure that they happen. So this Saturday, the 21st at Parkview Field from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., we are doing our first annual Cornhole for the Call. It is a cornhole event. You can come and for just $10, you can see live music, Joe Hess and the Wandering Cowboys. You can have food and beverage. If you want to participate, it is $60. It's a fun league to where you get first and second, third place prizes. If you want to be competitive, you can also participate in that, and there are cash prizes of up to $5,000 for first, second, and third place. And then for the professional division, you can walk away with an actual expenses paid trip to a Hearing the Call event, I believe in South America. So it is a very cool prize pool depending on your level of skill as it relates to cornhole.
A level of, who knew knew that having cornhole skill could take you so far in life. Like, those are some
There's
big prizes.
apparently a lot of people who make a living off of cornhole, and we've been indoctrinated into that. There
Really?
are some very good cornholers in this world.
Well, listen, watch out pickleball because cornhole is on the rise. I love that so much. It sounds like such a fun event. But you all have a special guest coming, so share more.
Yeah, so one of our board members, his name is Spencer Patton. He's a Major League Baseball player. He was actually a relief pitcher for the World Series winning Chicago Cubs, and I know that's really big for people in Fort Wayne.
Right.
So he will be present, and there's actually a couple ways to interact with Spencer. For the first hour, you can actually hit BP with Spencer, so you can pay a small fee, and Spencer Patton, a Major League Baseball player, will throw pitches that you can or cannot hit.
To kids.
Yeah.
To kids. We don't need any weekend warriors coming, just to kids. And then there's also going to be a raffle where you can actually win the chance to be Spencer's cornhole teammate.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool ways to interact with Spencer during Saturday's event.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's bringing his World Series ring. So if anybody wants to stop by and see the Cubs World Series ring, please come on by. He's happy to show it off.
Yeah, that's so fun. That's a really great guest. Well, thank you both so much for being here and sharing about your event and your organization. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you would like more information about Hearing the Call or their cornhole event, listen, it's taking place this Saturday, October 21st, so you don't want to miss it. We'll have their website listed below, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Hearing the Call.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to rewatch segments or full episodes of Living Local 15, you can head to WANE.com or download the WANE app. And remember, it's never too late to live your best life, so start living it today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow because it's Friday. Bye-bye.
Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.